Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. And so this is a special show, the first out of three as usual. And if it's Tuesday, you know it's movie reviews and more. So on Worldwide TV Network, WomenOnTV.tv, iTunes 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and all the iHeart platforms around the world. So Roberto, since you're my male co-host, and we got to even out this female energy, I had to have you back. Who are you? Where are you coming from today?
Yeah, we have a lot of female energy in here, so thank you very much for having me. I'm Roberto Delanese. I'm the author of an international bestseller, The Delanese Method. That's, things okay here, right? That's a proven method for you to achieve and live your dream life.
Angelica, all the way from Texas, let's talk about what you're doing because your future book is coming out. I can't wait to read this.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super privileged being here. So Angelica Robles, I was born and raised in Chicago, and I am about to be a bestseller.
Yes, right.
We're putting that out into existence. Through These Brown Eyes, the story is about my life working as an undercover agent and my life and all the trauma that came with it. So it's
And
coming
April-
out November 17th.
And I can't wait to get that.
Yes.
So, April, it's good to see you. It's been a while. I can never get you, but you're busy going back and forth. Tell everybody what you're doing because I love what you do, first of all, and I'm honored to have you for a friend and when I can get you as a co-host. Right, Carl?
Thank you for having me. I am super excited to finally be here with you because it has been a long time coming.
I've had to beg her, literally.
I'm always traveling, I'm always moving, but that is because I am a publicist for professional athletes, entertainers, and now with the new NCAA laws for college and high school athletes that want to profit off their name, image, and likeness. So I stay pretty busy.
You do. Especially doing stuff here at the Mike Out Studios in Hollywood. So, Annabella, so you're a surprise one. You were just in Florida to talk about what you do and why it's important that you're here. And who is your dog?
Let's start with Julia. Her name is Julia. She's a Pomeranian. She's 3 years old. Which camera am I looking at? So I know.
Just tell
Oh,
her.
well,
They'll find
I'm here to talk about Club Annabella Corporation. What is the mission behind the company? What do we do? How do we help entrepreneurs? We help startup company. We help filmmakers. We help entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, even governors, people from the White House. We're building a system that's actually going to help to change the world to be a better place for all of us. We're doing a lot of humanitarian work for Africa, India, United States, the homelessness. You name it, we have hands on everything. And right now, I had the meeting yesterday. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm not allowed to, but there is a solution to help people with the COVID. There is a cure for it. So we are working on it as we speak, and I'm about to reach out for the people from the White House to help me to spread it to the world so we can never hear one more dead person from COVID as well.
And Miss 7 Minutes Away, let's talk about you because you haven't been here. But the last time you were here, we were talking about the grace of cancer. We were talking about you being that world-renowned Cordon Bleu Chef, obviously, but your company also. But I get a chance, I love talking to you whenever I can get a chance to reach you because not only do you want to run one country, you've got two. I don't know how you do it, but talk about why it's important and why that book is important.
Brian, thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be here. Yes.
Yeah, because you only live 7 minutes away.
It's one of my favorite interviews because logistically I don't have to deal with traffic, so it's always a plus. So I'm Veronica Villanueva. I wrote The Grace of Cancer. It is my story of me having cancer 5 years ago. We're celebrating it. 5 years, September 26th of 2016 was when I was diagnosed with stage 4 incurable metastatic lung cancer. Unlike you, I can't use the word cure. I can only use the no evidence, NED, no evidence of disease in my body. So I can't even say that I've cured myself, even though I did. But just to be alive is a gift. So
That's amazing.
I was glad for that because that's amazing that you're here with us. Wow.
And talk about why this book was important because you're here to educate that, but it's not only that. I mean, you have two different companies. Talk about Alive, Well, and Thrive. How that came about also.
well, I've always said that when you heal yourself from something so horrific as cancer, it becomes a responsibility to also share your story and how you did it. Because after all, it's not healing yourself from the flu, it's healing yourself from cancer. And it's
Wow.
not stage 1, it's stage 4. And so as you've read my book. It starts with the mindset. It starts with loving yourself and knowing that you want to live. In my case, you still have a choice. You still have a decision to make. It's not just a matter of what the doctor tells you. It's about what you want. So I wanted to live, regardless of what the doctors have told me. And there's 5 of them that actually told me that I had less than 6 months to live because tumors had metastasized all over my upper body. I had as large as 7-inch tumors, so right on my chest. So every subsequent scan after my diagnosis, tumors were either disappearing or they were reducing in size. They never metastasized to my brain, which was the next location. And when I heard that, of course, the one thing that I do remember is cannabis and CBD there's health benefits if you take it, especially for your brain. So I started taking cannabis. And I have to say, as much as I'm a mother of 3 grown children, I've always said no drugs.
I was gonna say, no, when you say started taking cannabis, in what form did you start taking cannabis?
Well, I had to get really creative because my background is I'm a Cordon Bleu Chef, and I'm also a nutritionist, and I also lived in Europe. So in Europe, the way they deliver medicine is for children and adults. They use suppositories. And why do they do that? They do that because they want to make sure they bypass your stomach. Because for kids, a lot of the medicine is very harsh on the stomach. So by bypassing it, not only do you eliminate any kind of side effects associated with it, second, your body absorbs it instantly because it goes straight to your blood, right? So I created, and from my own kitchen, for my own use, at that time, really, really high potency suppositories. And when I healed myself, I just couldn't tell my story without having to tell people what I did. And whenever I started talking about what I did, the practicality of what I did, so you change, it's a whole lifestyle transformation, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard. But again, if you want to live, if you decide to do something.
Everybody wants to live.
No.
Everybody.
No, I would like to correct that. Everybody is living, but they're not alive.
I agree.
They're sleepwalking through life, so they're not living. They're
Especially when you've been given only 6 months to live. It's a whole different mindset, isn't it? I can't relate to that, but I can relate to what you've gone through with your story.
But you know what, Brian? I took it one step further, or maybe several steps further. Every day today, I live like it's my last.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not giving myself 6 months. I'm giving myself 24 hours.
That's why I love your post, because I can see the vibration coming through your posts when I see them.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, it's true. I don't say it just to say it. It's true.
I can actually relate to what you're saying because I was sick for 4 years. I had infection in my brain and my face, and the doctor was surprised I'm still alive. They said, you're going to die next month. They didn't even know what I had. And I had big infection in my brain. My brain was foggy with infection, and that's from stress. And it went to my face, and my face grew to the size of a watermelon. And they know what to do, how to drain the infection out. And God saved me with a hole in my chin. They showed the doctor from Cedar Sinai, she have infection, you guys need to help her, not to tell her she's going to die next month. So I know the feeling, and it's incredible what she's saying. And did you do chemotherapy, by the way?
I wasn't qualified to do neither one.
Well, my
Chemo nor
mom did.
radiation because it had already spread. So to do chemo and radiation, you have to have a target. Well, the target is my entire body.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Sometimes chemotherapy, can I say something? It's not the only solution. It's not the solution at all because my mom had something similar to what you've been through. And she was fine. As soon as they got her into chemotherapy, she died within less than a few months.
And everybody's body is different,
yeah.
which is what you were talking about. But
It's
talk
a
about
miracle. You're here and God bless you. I just
Thank
want to
you.
say that.
Thank you
Wow,
so much.
that's amazing.
Yes.
talk about how you started Alive, Well, and Thrive, and you have your partner here too.
Right, right.
Because, like I said, we were talking about you, Tony, but you didn't know about that. So.
Actually, he's my romantic partner who's also involved in my business for marketing. So, okay, so Alive, Well, Thrive came about, and it was meant to happen. I mean, I have to say, the grace of cancer has given me my next purpose in life. So my first purpose was to be this amazing mother that I am. I have 3 beautiful children and proud to be their mother. And now I'm proud to be a cancer warrior, you know, to be able to be alive, to show and live the life that I've always wanted, the life that I'm committed to living, the life that cancer gave me.
And have you here,
I wanna
which is
cry
why,
too.
which is why I love having you here, even though you're only 7 minutes away. That's the great thing about this. Angelica, you didn't know about this because this is how I do the shows. I like to mix people. Sometimes I tell people, sometimes I don't. But Angelica, talk about your story coming from Chicago, because Carl's from Chicago. Well, not really, but you know.
Yay, Chi-Town in the house. Okay, so so a little bit about my story. I've been through a lot of trauma, and I grew up in Chicago. I grew up in a rough neighborhood in Chicago. I went to one of the roughest schools in Chicago, predominantly Mexican, Morton East.
So
And
when we hear rough, like Chicago, the rough part of Chicago, is
everybody
that like the South Side?
everybody thinks the South
Okay.
Side, but you know, Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the world. And in Chicago, nobody mixes. You have your black neighborhood, you have your Puerto Rican neighborhood, you have your Mexican neighborhood. The
That's
Mexicans,
why you're on that side. I'm over here.
right? You know, and it's interesting because the Mexicans don't even mix with the Puerto Ricans. We have our own neighborhoods, and we stay on our either side, which is very sad, but it's a true reality. So when I was young, I was 15 years old. I was dating my high school sweetheart, and his sister was murdered, dismembered, and decapitated.
Oh my goodness.
So as a 15-year-old, to try to process that in this type of atmosphere was very difficult for me. And so that ultimately was the reason why I went to go work for the government, because I wanted to find out how and why people can commit such heinous acts over a few $1,000s. And that event really molded me as a person in growing up, and I grew up with a lot of anger. And I feel like in college, it was one of those things where I had to kind of process it. And, you know, COVID hit, and we were all stuck at home. And I said, you know what? I want to write this book, and I'm just going to put everything, all my emotions that I had being undercover and doing surveillance in the government. And the trauma of trying to deal with this, and depression and suicide. I mean, this book has it all, like sex, lies, betrayal, murder.
And
That's
how
gonna
long?
be a movie.
How long did it take you to write it?
It has everything. It took me 3 weeks to write it. And I talk about the process because once I started writing, I just needed to get it out of my system completely. And that's what I did. And so now it's on paper. It's going to come out. And my true
accomplishment.
thank you.
Wow.
My true feeling and my hope is that it does become a movie, because I really want to inspire other people to not let their past define them as a person. And you can go through traumatic experiences and go through life-altering experiences and still have joy for life and live life like you're alive. So I can totally understand everything that you're saying.
Oh my gosh, you made me
Yeah.
cry. I was like full of tears now.
Well, so here's the other
I'm
thing.
so sensitive to your story.
As you
And
started
too.
working out, talk about that, because you haven't stopped here. But also talk about going to Quantico. Can you, wait a minute, can you talk about that?
No, I
Okay,
cannot.
all right.
I'd
Tell
like to
us
say
what you
something.
can talk about.
So I am an interrogator. I am a high-level interrogator, and when people say, when the word comes out of my mouth, everybody thinks of treachery, right? Like she hits people, she smacks people. I
Badass.
don't do that. I always explain it to people. I get you comfortable. I speak to your soul. I'm not the type of person that smacks people around or is passive aggressive. That's not who I am as a person. Everybody has a story, and everybody has a soul. Now, that soul may be damaged, or it may be not all there or put together, broken. That's something that, you know, it's there. And I think that the type of work I do is more understanding, really understanding a person and their intentionality and who they are or what they represent. Because some of us may represent light, and some of us may represent darkness. So
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know. So you wrote your book. So was it a way for you to heal?
yes. I didn't realize how much I was internalizing so much. And I felt that writing my book really I evolved as a person. Like I outgrew my life.
You
like
let that all your
yeah,
feeling.
I outgrew the skin that I was in before, and I really started to come into fruition the type of woman that I represent and that I want to be. So much so that my marriage ended.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you feel relief about after you wrote the book? Don't you feel like, wow,
I
I let it all
feel-
out? Like oxygen
yeah.
just came out of my body.
I think the word is free, because I'm really good at listening to the most horrible things in the world and internalizing it, and I'm really good at not letting anything affect me internally. But let's be honest, like let's be real, it does affect me. Like I listen
You've been
to
through a lot.
drug dealing, I listen to people getting killed, I talk to terrorists, I talk to murderers, and at the end of the day, I have to go home and sleep with myself. So
Wow.
I love the idea of what you're describing here. And can we just put some words to this? So she's saying she's internalized a lot of things from just living. That's what we
Right.
do. We internalize. What we don't do is we don't externalize.
right.
And we need to do that. There's a song that I love, and I never share this with anybody, but today I feel like I would like to share.
Yes.
There's this song that saved me really during my process and my healing, Catch and Release. It doesn't mean that just because you catch something, and every day we're always catching, we're always absorbing,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it is really up to us to see and to look at this and say, is this really meant for me? Because not everything that comes towards you is meant for you. That you're not meant to absorb everything, and not all of that is meant for you. So you don't have to catch everything. And
It's
that's
your
when I
choice.
say, for example,
Exactly.
for what you do, you know, you have the potential to internalize so many things that you should not own. And I think that's what keeps, and I love the idea that you wrote a book to externalize a lot of the things
Right.
that's probably made you either you're stuck or you're not growing or you're unhappy. And what did you get out of it? A new layer of skin, right?
Yeah.
A new life. And you said you actually got divorced.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Look how happy she is.
For me, it was a
You
great
never
thing.
know.
It's a great
always
thing.
a good thing.
And so the purpose of the book was to allow people to heal from within, because I feel, just like you were saying, healing starts with yourself. You have to make a decision to heal, because everybody can tell you do this, do that, but if you don't make that decision, you're not getting anywhere. So the way I explained it is I felt like I was living a diluted version of myself. And now, after the book and after my divorce, I feel like I'm now fully self-expressed. And I am walking into this new era of my singularity, and it's amazing, because I was married for 10 years, and the intention of the book actually did what it was supposed to do in my own household. So
Nice.
you'll have to read the book so you could hear what happened and why I
That's
divorced my
interesting.
husband. And it's not a conventional reason, and it will blow your mind, because it still blows mine. And I've heard it all. So you'll have to get the book so you can
And
read.
I would like to mention, she's wearing this badass woman. She's wearing red high heels today. So I gotta mention
With the
that.
camo pin.
You like the
Yeah,
outfit, the
nice
fit
one.
for today, yes.
And,
Thank you.
Also, I would like to, I work for Netflix as well. One of my things that I do in my corporation, we find true story about regular people that are interesting. And if you have a book or if you don't have a book, I hire the writer to write the story about your life. I hire the director and the actor to play you. I already saw Michelle Rodriguez playing you.
Yeah.
Totally, right?
What did I say,
Totally.
Brian? That's exactly the person that they had asked me, and there was
Yeah.
3 people in mind, and that's the person I said that came
And
out of my mouth.
That's what I do with Netflix. So, and I help them fund and they fund the rest, and they pay you a lot of money to make a movie based on your life story. So I would like to consider you and to talk to you about it outside
Thank
the
you.
show. And that sounds interesting. And you made me cry. She touched my heart. It's like
Well,
I
you should
couldn't hold
read.
my tears.
You should read her
Should
book,
read the book, yes.
Yeah. it
which
sounds
goes
very-
into Roberto.
Yes.
Why you wrote yours, because yours is inspiring too. And so here's the strange thing that everybody may not know. The reason why authors from Hasmark are coming on, I like the company. I love Judy. I love what they do. I love the people, because when Roberto came down was the first time he met Veronica, and you guys connected, and then you helped Terry, who's not here, who will be here for the next show. But it was one of those things, we've been taking these authors and making them international and best-selling future
Yes.
authors,
An
which
international
is
best-
good.
Stories.
International.
You
Yes.
be an international
This is the
bestseller.
first time I do a show with
Visualize
other
that.
people
I
with
know.
me. This is actually incredible because we get to bounce off each other stories.
And there's a reason why we
Really
have
nice.
9.1 million views a day and counting.
I like it.
Oh, yeah.
It's different, but I actually like it more now.
Oh, yeah. And it's interesting, like you mentioned, why I wrote the book, right? I'm not in development, people development, or this kind of mentoring, anything. So my whole life was in engineering, working for corporations and supply chain systems. Okay? But I always loved to develop people, to help people to achieve their goals and their dreams, okay, outside work. Right?
Everybody needs
Oh,
help.
yeah. So last year I was in Brazil enjoying my summer there, summer here, right? And COVID came, so I had to fly back. And I mentioned she's from Houston, so I arrived in Houston when there was not a single soul in the airport for the first time. Right? And I got home, I'm leaving Vegas, and I start spending my days, afternoons in the swimming pool, and I said, well, I have to help people somehow. But now I don't have access to people, right? Because I'm not working anymore, and what I'm gonna do, right? And literally in the pool came the idea, maybe I should put in writing what I tell people, how I develop people, how I help them to achieve their dreams, right? And that's how the book came about, right? And I basically was about 3 months to the same thing, is to write down. I did put my story also in the book, just to give it credibility to the story, to say, well, if I come from a small town in Brazil, poor family, and I end up getting here, working for big companies and living my dream life in Vegas, right? You can do too, right? So if I can do, you can do it. And like it's the funny thing to see here that you can have like a trauma, you can have a disease, you can have all kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you see that everything comes to the mind, right? Is how your mindset is. So if you can live and you can die just based on your mind, what you think, what you do.
Absolutely.
So like in your case, you are diagnosed, you are in the end of your life, okay, you have months, right? But if you make a decision that you are not going to die, that you're going to live, your body can make miracles if you believe that. Like I'm telling her, if you believe you're going to be international bestseller, you will be a international bestseller in November. Okay, we're going to
I'm
celebrate.
gonna hold you
see.
accountable.
And
I'll
Roberto,
be accountable.
Roberto,
You see.
hold up your book because I
Sure.
love how they put that in there. But also, your book is AR technology, right?
Yes, yes.
Talk
So-
about that.
Yes.
Oh yes. So this is the name of the book is the Delanese Method. It's a practical guide to success, prosperity, and abundance. So the idea is how you can achieve your dream life, and it can be small goals or lifetime major goals, right? And one of the techniques that Hasmark has is the AR technology. Is that you can scan this little sign that you have inside the
The
book.
QR code.
A QR code. It's not a QR, but it's similar to a QR that you can scan. And depending on what's done behind that, you can have like what they say. You can read the book outside the book, right? In my case, you can go to a video that I can talk to you and explain something in addition to the book. Some people can have like a fiction. You can have like a character that comes up. Like you can have like different things in 3D, anything you want, right? So it is an amazing technology that is, I understand, is only Hasmark that is offering worldwide this.
Yep,
So
they're
it
the
is
only
an-
publishers in the world
it
that
is
do
an
that.
amazing thing, yes.
Yeah.
So it is, I really enjoyed the journey for the book. That is to, like you mentioned, you put in the book, basically it comes out of you. And the idea is how can you help people, right? Is to use this for the best. So it doesn't matter, like you all said, but it doesn't matter what happened to you in the yesterday. Yesterday is gone. Okay, the past does not exist anymore, right? Just in your memory. When you die, it's gone. Nobody will know, right?
Right.
So you wake up this morning, you have to make the call. How am I going to live the day? I'm going to be a happy guy, unhappy guy, right? I'm going to help someone or not. And if something happens to you, okay, it doesn't help to start blaming and finding fault and doing stuff, right? Is to look and say, what can I learn from this, right? There is always a lesson to be learned. So I think that is always the key when you have like a trauma or a problem, okay? As I mentioned in the book, during my life, I have seen a lot of people, and with me too, okay? Then you see that the same thing repeats over time in the life. Someone says, every year in November I get sick, everything. And you have the same problems happen to the same person. Because you have not learned the lesson yet. And life has a way to make sure that you learn the lesson, okay?
Absolutely.
So that is the key. So if you just, when you have an issue, find how you can minimize, how you can get out, okay? don't think about why me, why now, why, all those whys. Okay?
Yeah, that's all the
And-
victim talking,
Yes, all
right?
the victim, the victim talk. Okay, so just look and say, I have a problem. How do I get out? How do I find my way out of this? How I minimize the pain, right? Once you're out, then you can stop and think and can ask yourself, why did it happen to me, right? What do I have to learn? Or how can I use this experience, like you mentioned, how can I use what happened to me to help others? So there is always something that you can learn from
You
something
know,
bad
it
that happens
changed
to
you when
Yes.
what she been through and what I've been through, which is similar. When you think, when they talk to tell you about to die, you're like, please don't say that. I cannot see myself dying. I'm full of life. What do you
Yes.
mean I'm gonna die?
Yes.
And I fought it. I just kept on manifesting and praying for 4 years. But I was by myself, no family, no boyfriend, no ex-husband. Everybody left me because I was also cuckoo. Because my brain was full of infection, so I wasn't making sense.
Yeah.
So everybody left me. I was literally dying in my house in LA, and there was nobody there for me. Julia, I got 2 years ago. I got back to myself just February 21. So I'm alive. Like literally, I reborn myself after 4 difficult surgeries in February 21. And when you hear the word that you're about to die, you're like, hell no! Don't tell me that. Like what? I have my whole life ahead of me. I have so much to conquer. But then you give you a message from God that like, when I come back, not if, when I come back to life again and I look normal again, I'll do whatever I can to help others.
Somebody else.
And that's kind of like a lesson in my life. Like I've always helped people my whole life, but now I help in such a bigger scale to massive amount of people, not just people. I'm helping countries and continent, for God's sake. So I'm like, I really achieving something that really gave me a big push to like, I have so much connection worldwide with the biggest leaders in the world. Let's help the world to be a better place. And it really changed me in a way of like, just focus on giving, giving, giving. Eventually you will be receiving.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something, guys, when I start to give more, not asking for money, not asking for anything, just help, 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 I start to get so many proposals from different avenues. To this one want to partner with me 50% of the company. This one want me to be a brand ambassador for a lot of money. And I said, you know what, God, I was sick for 4 years. I was leaving all my assets. I was selling all my properties. I was selling all my company shareholders. And was living off saving because I had nobody to go to. Nobody, no family. My family are cheap. God bless them. They're used to me helping them all their life. So, but when you're so hopeless in a way, you're still full of hope because you know you're going to come back stronger than ever. And then when you give, the universe give you back so much. Oh my God. I mean, the deals that
Well, it's about cause and effect. You know, in the Buddhist way is, for me, 33 years of practicing Buddhism, is if I'm not making those causes, I'm not going to get them back. But you make them because you want to, which is
Right.
why you're all here.
Right.
There is other people who are going to be here. You know, after I called Colombia, Brazil, Cyprus, and Greece, and who else did I call? Portugal. Then I called April because I wanted to see. I wanted to make sure that she's here because April has an interesting story to tell that's not been told yet. But I'm proud of the things that she has done. Talk about you playing basketball and football. What that's like for you.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I like to embarrass her too.
Yes, I do have. I have quite a story, and it's really not out yet. So I'll give you a tidbit of it. But I'm also in the process of writing a book and sharing my story and stories of different things that I've experienced in my life. Yes, I actually grew up, as you can see, or if those of you that are just listening cannot see, I'm multiracial. And I grew up
very exotic, very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. But I did grow up with my mother in a predominantly small white community, all white community. So I went to a mostly all white school. There was only maybe 1 or 2 other families of color in the entire town. So I, even playing sports, I played basketball, I played volleyball, I ran track. I experienced different levels.
Did you play football too?
I did, but that wasn't in school, Brian. That was later down the line. But I did experience, you know, different levels of racism and things that were very hard to deal with as a kid, you know, when you don't really have a lot of other friends or family members around you that look like you do to help support and kind of guide you through those
Yeah.
times. So I think that helped to kind of mold me into a little bit of my personality as I grew older and deal with certain things and handle certain things, and even handling people a certain way. Because when you experience people handling you in a way that might hurt you or offend you or something, you don't really want other people to have to experience those types of feelings. So you kind of go out of your way to be better than that, and those people that did those things to you.
That's you. Not everybody does.
That's
You get it, April.
so yeah. Then as I got older, I had aspirations and dreams of being a professional athlete, but my life took a different path. In high school, I went through a lot of knee injuries. I tore my ACL twice my senior year, lost a lot of scholarships, ended up still going to college and trying to play basketball my freshman year, but then I ended up injuring my knee again. So I was done. Then, as Brian said, yes, I decided playing professional football was a good idea.